What's going on, everyone? It's MG from Computer Science 294. This is going to be the CSS, or the cascading style sheet that presentation that we're going to look at. So I didn't make a presentation for this because I kind of thought that it didn't really warrant one. It's going to be a relatively short presentation or a relatively short sort of video because, believe it or not, we've already been dealing with CSS. CSS, cascading style sheets, are able to be used in three separate ways. We've been using two of them up until this point. We're going to actually learn the correct way, or the right way to use them. So beforehand, and I'm going to kind of go down here. This is just an example sort of website that I made really quickly, just sort of to throw out there. I've got 3 pages that are they're all virtually the same. The only difference is that this first little lorem ipsum paragraph has page 1 homepage, or page 2. Let's go to the index. Before, we were doing something with inline style, and of course that's where we say something inline. We say something like style, I don't know, background color is orange. That's inline style. We're able to change it, but it's only for this one element, and it's only for this one sort of thing right now. And here, that was an example of that was assignment 1, where we didn't, or effectively we shouldn't have used a style block up here. I'm going to get rid of that. So it's inline style. We've already been using that for a while, or we've used it before now. Then we moved to moving those exact same styles into the head of the HTML document, which is sort of the internal style sheet. These are all the styles that all of this content sort of deals with. I just got some example images and some sort of example text and everything, just to show that this is a website that could be made or whatever. It took all of these classes and all of these IDs. I think I have some IDs somewhere in here. Maybe it's just classes right now, but I moved them up here. You can see there's a lot of divs, and there's actually HTML and body tags, or body styles. But what we haven't messed with is external style sheets, and because I wanted to wait until we've dealt with CSS a little bit before we dealt with that. Some of you have already been using it, and that's totally fine, but we're going to go ahead and we're just going to take it from the top and show from scratch how we would make a CSS external style sheet. And it's really easy, because the magic, all of the stuff that we actually need for that style sheet is already here. It's the styles, or they're the styles that we've already sort of been dealing with. The reason we don't like dealing with internal style sheets is because, and we've seen this in other development or other programming courses, if we wanted to change something, let's just say I want to change the background of the header. So if I come up here and I see background color and I want to make this, let's just say orange, because it was such a good color, orange. If I go and I save this and I navigate to my home page and I go back to page 1, well, it goes back to being red, because the style for orange here is not the same as the style. I mean, it's effectively the same, but it's not linked in any way to this. So this is actually page 2 versus index, which is orange. I'm going to change that back to red for now. So the reason we don't like internal style sheets is because they literally only affect that document, that one HTML page. I'm going to copy this just for future reference. So that we don't want to use this unless there's an element that is only on that page and will never ever be on another page, or if it's something like it's dynamically built CSS, which we want to stay away from, but we're going to probably do a little bit of that when we get to the JavaScript portion of the course. So the idea is we want to take all of these sort of styles and we want to put them in a new file. We're going to name this, we'll just call it site.css, and I'm literally just going to paste these in this site.css, and I'll probably try to sort of style that. All right, and I'm going to save it. So I saved it, and that's located in the same folder as all of these. So I'm going to go back to index. We know that we are no longer going to need all of these styles, but when we do that, notice things just go real bad. It gets destroyed. I'm going to completely get rid of that style. What we do, the way that we sort of set up this associative link, is we literally say link, we don't yell it, link, and we're going to say style sheet for the relation. The type is going to be a text CSS, and again, brackets is sort of helping me with predictive text for this one. And then I'm going to tell it, go ahead and find my site.css. And as soon as I set that one line right there, it grabs all of the CSS. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to change that out. I'm going to replace all the style block with this one little link, and everything's going to start falling into place. All right, I'm going to save all of these documents real quick, and I'm going to leave site.css open so that I can switch over to this. I'm going to refresh this page. The reason I can't do it here is because I think the editor wants. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's try it. Oh no, the editor will allow me to do it. So I'm editing the site.css, and we can see that we are on the index page. If I was to change the background now, orange, and I was to go to any of these pages, we see that it is changing the page, and it's also keeping that one sort of linked attribute. This is incredibly useful because let's say that we want to make things larger. We want to we want to change something in our content, so we want to make the padding 25. Well, now all of a sudden that kind of looks a little bit dumb, but we can change all of that at once. We can make sweeping changes to these sort of to the sort of style that we would choose for the side. So say if I didn't want the left and the right to be black, where is it? We're not going to mess with that. I put content there for some. Again, this is not a good website. It's just for an example to kind of show a website off for this specific purpose. But yeah, that's it. We literally just sort of kind of connect it up that way. Now we can mix and match. We can say, like, so let's say we go back to page 1. If I wanted to say in a separate style block, let's say I wanted the body of this or the header of this to be a different color. So if I wanted the background color of this header to be I don't know, a different color, let's say I want it to be orange. It seems to be the thing. Well, then we see page 1 is orange, but if I go back to the home page or page 2, it's still red. This internal style sheet is overriding this external style sheet, which is, I guess important. So what we get is a little bit of precedence, right? Internal will always, or I'm sorry, inline will always be the most precedented sort of important. It'll take control more than not. So if I have background color of header up here, and then I come up here and say this is header, and then now I want to say style equal background color, and I just say white. What is this, page 1? Do this right. Oh, I got back to page 1, but we see that this actually changes it to white. So even though I've got background orange and in this site.css background.red, the inline is taking over for that. Right, if I get rid of that, it goes back to the internal style sheet, and if I get rid of that, it goes back to the linked external style sheet. So that's sort of how, when we talk about cascading order, that's the order in which these rules are applied, and they sort of affect the actual site. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, there's no magic there. It's literally taking the styles that we've been using since assignment 1 and moving them from, instead of being inline, the element sort of description or the element creator tag, to from the style block in head to a separate, completely separate CSS. So I don't know what would happen if you put 2 CSS files. Typically that's not something you do, or they don't overlap or whatever, but I'm sure one would take precedent of the other. Maybe the first one you declare would take precedence over the second one you declare, something like that. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Don't do that, that's dumb. Don't overlap your styles like that. But yeah, so that's it. There will be an assignment very soon that has you using CSS, and it will be very non-intrusive. It's not meant to waste your time or anything. It's just meant to kind of hone this concept home, or drive this concept home. So look for Moodle, look on Moodle rather, for that assignment. If you have any questions, remember, you can email me at mg@salu.edu. You can set up an office time or talk to me in class when we have class. And I guess until I see you or hear from you, take it easy and enjoy.